fans, welcome to Purple Rain Sports, rulers of the airway. We are the one and only podcast featuring Wildcat Sports. I am your host, La Voz de los Gatos, BDE 76. Joining me as always, our producer / co-host, Mr. Albert Sosa, Wildcat Insiders, Mr. Sam Castro, Mr. Alan Sanchez, and taking us back to the old school. Y'all know his name, y'all know his number 51, Brian Pettis. Last but not least, providing technical support, Double J.
Coming to you live from Area 51, episode 10, season 4. My name is Albert Sosa. Of course, as you see, Mr. Ernest Flores is not here today. He is absent. He has, in memory of Ernest, we're having his microphone here because he's not dead or anything. He's watching the Steelers lose to the Dolphins right now, and he's not in a good mood, so he couldn't be here.
Well, the Steelers season is dead, so I don't even know why he's wasting time over there.
He should have just come down to the podcast, but oh
2-4.
I understand. I understand, Ernest. I'm a Laker fan, and I don't like to watch games with other people, especially Laker games, because they don't deserve to watch Laker games.
I don't understand.
It's the Steelers, Sam. It is the Steelers. So
yeah.
And the Dolphins. Don't forget that the other team does show up.
I've just never been that big of a fan of one single team to where everything shuts down. You shut everything down to watch them play.
Exactly.
And I just don't understand.
Well,
But Primo always says, man, you didn't even play football. What the heck are you talking about?
I don't think that has to do with it.
Well, I don't do that, but
I don't get like that in football. I mean,
you are an athlete, though.
I don't get like
what I do know is that HEB's packed right now because nobody cares about the Steelers. Only when America's team plays that the
I'm a
HEB
fan.
is empty.
I'm a fan of the Wildcats.
Well, there
let's
you
get
go.
back on the Wildcats.
So let's get to the
highlights for this
Wildcats.
podcast for episode 10 of season 4. Highlights is we're going to recap the game between the Wildcats and the Hondo Owls.
You know what? I wasn't able to watch the first half because I don't know if you guys are aware, but I am a band dad, and I was working the concession stand the first half, and for some reason, a lot of people from Hondo were asking for a hero sandwich or a hero.
Well, that was Ernest's fault.
Special.
A hero special.
So that's on Ernest. So also in the highlights, we're going to discuss other sports. The volleyball team is doing well. The cross country team is doing really well. They had their regional cross country championships this week, and we'll also be discussing the next game coming up, which is Rivalry Week. Try to say that really fast.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry week.
It's Wildcats versus the team from the north, green team, like you said at the game.
The spinach pickers.
So it's going to be a good game. We look forward to that game on this Friday, starting at 7:30. 10 miles north. He said 12 miles. 12 miles north?
It's 12 miles.
It's north. The next team north, the next town north. As you drive north, stop there.
Just past Winter Haven.
And it's going to be
the thing about that game is that although it's an away game, it's almost like a home game because
10 miles.
everybody's there.
Yeah.
And there's even more people there more people go to that game than they come to the actual home games.
Well, it looks like
it.
Bleachers are taller.
It's because their bleachers are smaller.
No, they need to do something about that. Remember in Floresville? Did you go to Floresville game? Where they had the band and those people that are just kind of a distraction. I mean, no, the band
Was
behind the end zone. Yeah, that was cool, man. And it's good sound, and it gives more room. In these type of games, you need more room for the patrons,
Well, but over there, they don't care about their patrons.
We'll discuss that when we get to the
Actual game
later on. But right now, we're going to discuss a recap of Hondo versus Carrizo Springs. And, of course, as we all know, the final score was 35-7.
Well, like I said, I only watched the second half. And the second half, it seems like we ran the ball decent. I guess fairly well, actually. Marcy had some good rushing yards from what I saw.
Well, the exact same thing happened in the first half, except, we get into the red zone, and penalties, miscues, things would start pushing us back. And it was and then we just turned over the ball because it was fourth down, and we couldn't,
we started we started first and goal, then we were first from the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, the defense and stuff like that. But I'm going to be honest with you and say the defense looked a little flat in the first half against the Owls. They just, and if anybody watches film, and I've said it, and I love the Cats, but if you want to beat them, throw the ball. and that's exactly the way it is. They threw 2 throwing touchdowns in Pearsall. We lost by 1 touchdown, right? Hondo just scored. How many did they score on throwing passes?
They scored
on pass 3. They scored 3.
No, they scored
2 or 3.
2. The rest was running.
So it's a bit
couple of
tough.
passes to what I saw were big games, which put him in position.
Well, I'm sorry, they scored 1 touchdown, but several of those touchdowns were because of passes that got them close, and then but they scored actually 1 touchdown passing.
So there you go. So they just need to tighten up a little bit. Secondary needs to don't give them don't crowd them so much. I mean I didn't play football. I know that if you're gonna get beat with speed or with whatever, kind of play back a little bit. Give them a little bit more space so you don't fall so behind. Give them a little bit more cushion. More cushion for the pushing. So anyway,
well, no pushing because that's
but
a
that's
flag.
my take on the game. It was a tough game, for the Wildcats. We did have a couple of injuries. Speaking of injuries, I want to give props out to some of the unsung heroes that are out there on the field with these boys, and I'm talking about the training staff. And, we appreciate the young kids that are out there giving them water and stuff. But, Coach Sean Miller and Coach Holly Abshire, they're taking care of these boys. And I'm saying that because my kid got hurt at the end of, in the 4th quarter, and they were really attentive to him. Holly was really concerned about him, and she made a safe call and splinted him and taken him to the ER. Everything looks okay. He does have a high ankle sprain, but his play might be a little bit limited this week. But it's her goal. One statement that she made to me, because Coach Abshire and Holly both showed up at the hospital after we had already found out everything was okay. And what she told me was like, we're going to get him back out on the field. If I can get Ethan Aguilar on the field after a dislocated ankle, I can get him back out on the field. So, and for me, that just shows that she's passionate about these kids and making sure they're okay and getting them back to where they want to be, where they need to be, is out on the field. So my hat's off, Holly,
We appreciate
Coach
that,
Miller. We appreciate it a lot. Keep up the good work. And, 2 more games. Hopefully we can come out. Ethan Aguilar is fine, by the way. He was cleared, concussion, stuff like that. So what I was told today, he is going to play. And like I said, David, he's questionable. But if he has anything to say about it, he's going to be out there in the field as much as he can. And then hopefully we can keep the rest of the cats healthy. I ran into Avery at the golf course on Saturday. He was a little banged up. But these boys, they just want to play football. They're not going to let these
small injuries.
These things, they're not going to let these things. Being hurt is not going to keep them off the field. They got to be injured in order for that to
get
happen.
healed, and then of course that game, nothing else. This upcoming game, nothing else matters. So let's get back to Hondo. What I saw was the second quarter was kind of our bad quarter. I guess that's the quarter where they scored 21 points.
We fumbled.
21 points in that quarter. It was 7-0 after the first quarter, and then they scored another one right at the beginning of the second quarter, and then we scored. But right after we scored, they had a kickoff return.
Ran it back.
I understand. I think they were, they kicked it up high and straight, trying to get maybe a onside kick out of it. Sometimes they do that. Some teams do that. I think that's what. I'm only speculating here, but he caught it. He went right through the middle where everybody split up, and somebody picked off the kicker. And then he went right through the middle and took it all the way.
Open lane.
They actually scored twice in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a kickoff
that
return.
was that was tough, man.
We drove. We had a turnover, and they had a 34-yard pass to score. So that was the pass that where they scored on.
Yeah. So it was tough to watch.
Halftime was 28-7. Yeah.
And sometimes they score, especially on special teams. They score on special teams. The tendency is to the fire, the energy just drains or just comes out of some of these kids. But just remember, it's they do that. Just pick yourself up, dust yourselves off, and let's move on to the next play.
And that's
put all that crap behind you, and let's move on to the next play, and let's just keep on pushing, keep on trucking.
And again, that goes back to them being young, because you got to be disciplined enough to stay in your lane, and especially on kickoff.
Yes,
you're
sir.
assigned a certain lane, you're assigned a certain man. That's where you're supposed to stay. And because I'm gonna go get him, I want to get him, I want to tackle this guy. Kids talk trash to each other during games, so that takes you out of your game. So you aim for the receiver or for the kick return. I'm sorry.
And you leave your lane open.
And you leave your lane open, and that's where it's cut into, and then boom, he's gone. So there's stuff like that. Being young,
Simple mistakes.
They'll learn and they'll mature up, and I think that's what happened. So, and I have some stats from this game for both teams, but I'm just gonna go over the Wildcats. Rushing wise, we kind of spread the ball rushing, and they all did pretty well. we actually outrushed Hondo 298 to 166.
Wow.
100 yards rushing. And where they got us was in passing. They passed, quarterback passed for 162, way more than ours. Rushing-wise, again, let me go back. Ethan Aguilar only played 2 quarters. He had 6 carries, 98 yards on 6 carries.
Oh, he started off with that long run that he had right up the middle, but it was nullified because of a holding call.
Yeah. So, and maybe maybe the pain in the ankle. I don't know how that ankle is, but he couldn't break away. He would have had good legs under him. He would have probably gone. Then you had Christian De La Cruz, who kind of splits between receiver, slot, and then running back. Especially for this game, he only had 7 carries for 77 yards. So the average on him was 11 yards, and the average on Ethan was 16.3. Then you had
16.3 yards
for Ethan a carry.
Carry.
Then you had 62 yards for Oscar Ramirez on 13 carries, which is still not bad. It's almost 5 yards a carry. So even Oscar had a pretty good game. And then quarterback Marky Maldonado had 60 yards on 12 carries. So he had a 5 yard per carry. His longest was 23 yards. Ethan's longest was 69 yards.
Yep.
So that's the one you were talking about. And then, Oscar Briseño had a couple yards. He had some negative yards, but he had a couple of good runs. Receiving wise, like I said, we had that one catch by Avery. It was 11 yards, and Nathan caught one for 2 yards. So that's the only thing we had. And then tackling for our defense, you had Sergio Sonora with 9 solo tackles.
Wow.
9 solo tackles.
He stepped up a little bit.
Jesse Lopez, a senior, he only had 5. He had 3 solo, 2, but he had 1 tackle for a loss, and that was the main one there. Noel Gonzalez had 7 tackles, 5 and 2. David Castro, he only played the 3 quarters, I guess. He had 4 tackles, 3 solo. JP John had, Derek Ramos had a sack, and Joey Trujillo had a sack. So that was pretty good. And then of course Dominic Hernandez, he kicked the extra point, pretty well. I mean, it was a pretty good kick when he made the extra.
It went over.
Yeah, Dominic Hernandez.
The Dimes.
So, another sophomore where he kicked it and put it in. Yeah. So
Nick.
He had a lot of pretty good kicks, and then that's about it. So
the Cats they're producing. They're putting up yards. We're struggling getting into the end zone. We get into the red zone, and then there's penalties. Mm-hmm. I know that after that long run initially, then they threw an interception right after that. So it's those kind of things where you kind of beating yourself up, shooting yourself in the foot. And if we can, with 2 more games left in district play, if we can try to get away from some of those turnovers, some of those mistakes, we will definitely have better outcome because we're putting the yards. We're just not getting in the end zone, and I think that's really, really tough, especially when you come to these. Well, it wasn't a close game with Hondo, but like Pearsall game, that was just we lost by a touchdown, right? So it's just
it comes down to penalties. In every game, the penalty is just like in reference to the NBA. You don't make that free throw at the end, it comes back to bite you, and a penalty in the red zone, jeez,
I think at the beginning of the season. They had the confidence, because like I said, like you keep talking about that they're young. They had that confidence where they knew they could come back. They have the talent, they have the tenacity to come back. But now as the seasons progress, it starts getting to you where, man, we didn't come back last week. We didn't come back. So now I think it's getting to them, and it's catching up. So and it happens especially in the red zone where there's more pressure. You see it closer, and now the pressure steps up, and let's see what you can do. And that goes back to an experience.
And my take on the whole season actually is we've been putting up some good yards and passing in some games, more yards than some others. And it's just giving up those big plays, those big passing plays that pretty much come around and kick us in the butt. So, I mean,
hard to come back.
Yeah, Sam said
it's hard to come back.
You know what? I mean, even if you have to give them 5 extra yards of cushion before you actually drop back and read the quarterback, the pass, and not so much as when they let that ball go, don't come forward. Keep on moving back until you actually see where the ball is going. I've always liked to think of catching a football as like catching a fly ball in baseball. Wait for the highest point before you actually move towards the ball. So you go back, you drop back, and you look at the football, and just because the quarterback lets it go, don't automatically think it's going to be short. Keep on moving back, keep on backpedaling or following that receiver, and then at the end, just go for it. Knock it on his ass or go for the ball or whatever.
Become an athlete.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's That's usually what we say. That's when you become an athlete.
I think the whole season, I mean, we have been putting up yards. We've been putting up points in some games as well. I mean, so we know we can do it. It's just those small little things that have kicked us in the butt. So this coming game, I think
we have to be flawless. We have to be
I
flawless.
said it 2 weeks ago. I think the Wildcats are going to put an ass whooping on Crystal City. And if they don't, then maybe I might just have to punish myself for that. But that's how much confidence I have. Is that I think that, and this game is a totally different game. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will.
But what I would like to do we want to do our take on players of the game against Hondo?
I was about to say that. Let's go ahead and finish off this segment with our players of the game.
Ethan Aguilar, for me, 16-yard. I didn't watch the first half, but I mean, stat-wise and watching them run the second half, a little bit that I did see. 16 yards of carry, man.
Okay, Brian, who's your player of the week?
I don't have a player. I'm going to say I got to see I hadn't seen him run the ball like that since his junior high days, but I'll give credit for Oscar Briseño. He's playing a linebacker position. It's like they say, if you're a team player, hey, guess what? We need a running back. Get in there. And I mean, he didn't run too many times, but still.
He had a pretty good 5-yard run, but the other runs, were kind of negative. So that's, I mean, it's not his fault. That's not his position.
It's not his position, but like I say, a team player.
He looked pretty good running the ball.
A team player, hey, I need a tight end, I need a guard, whatever. Get in there. He stood up and did all right as a running back. I mean, short yardage. Might think about that, coach. Use him as a short yardage, like the fridge. But
you've seen Oscar play on the line, play linebacker position, and not running the ball. So, and again, Oscar's a sophomore, so there's a lot to look forward to in the future. So, my player of the game is going to be another sophomore. I'm going to have to go with Christian De La Cruz. I think him being so young, he's not the biggest kid out there, but he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of speed. He almost ran that kickoff back. He got a shoestring tackle. Christian, keep working, man. You're doing great out there. Just hopefully we can keep these boys healthy and move on to the next game. So I'm going with Christian De La Cruz.
Yeah, and I second that one. I had Christian De La Cruz on my radar there from that. He had other kickoffs that were pretty good kickoffs. He had a lot of yards.
We had some good kick returns.
All-purpose yards for Christian, which I didn't mention, were a lot because he had, Christian De La Cruz had 101 all-purpose yards with his kickoffs. So 77 yards. I'm sorry, 178. He had 77 yards rushing, 101 yards kick returning. Besides that, what is it, like a 50-yarder that he returned, almost took it all the way.
Yeah.
And he had another one. He had two other ones that added up to 101 yards. So Christian was on my radar. And then defensively, like I said, Sergio Sonora with the 9 solo tackles. Sophomore again. I think I saw him make a couple mistakes out there. I remember thinking that, thinking he was a sophomore, but when I saw he was in every tackle, then I said, he's making up for it. So those are the two I picked.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the defense and to the team because when David got hurt and I went down there, of course he was very emotional. They kind of hovered over him. They just tried to reassure him, and you could just see like the team. I don't want to use the word love in the game of football. There was a lot of love there.
Brotherhood.
And then the brotherhood, and then we walk out of the
camaraderie.
ER, and the ER is full of coaches, the players, So I do want to express my appreciation for everybody that showed up and in text messages, phone calls, all that stuff. We do appreciate it. He is okay. He will be there against Crystal City, but we'll see what kind of playing time he'll be able to get, So, but it's a young team, but they got a brotherhood, and I think we have a lot to look forward to next year. But we'll talk about next week when we come back.
Yes, sir. On that note, we'll go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back.
No matter where you are, you depend on 911 to help you in an emergency. You need help quickly when seconds count. That's why we want you to know about Carey's Law and how it can help ensure that all Texans have direct access to 911 in an emergency. By September 2016, all businesses with multi-line telephones must provide direct access to 911. That means no additional outbound numbers such as 9 plus 911. To find out more, visit texas911.org.
Welcome back. Second segment, episode 10, season 4.
Times 2.
So
times two.
Yeah, we'll have to do this all over again. Let me put my hat back on. So
I won't tell you what happened, but
yeah. We're going to give shout-outs to the sponsors, Money Graphics, Mr. Matthew Signs, T-shirts, cups, hats, whatever you need. Matt will hook it up, man, and he does a good job. We also have the Carrizo Springs Javelin, Mr. Howie and Claudia McDaniel. Shout out to them. Moving forward, we have Smoking D's Competition Barbecue. By the way, Smoking D's knocked it out the park this last weekend, right? Last weekend, something like that. First place, fajitas.
Second place, beans.
Second place, beans. You know, man, good stuff. So too bad I missed it. The 911, Mr. Rallo Diaz for the Middle Rio Grande Development Council, hooked up Purple Rain Sports. We appreciate it. What would we do without 911, right?
Yes, sir.
We all need it.
Now you can text it, you can call it, you can text it, and you get the first responders there, and fast and quick. So
Yeah. And if you forget the number, you ain't got no business picking up a phone.
yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So moving on, we have 5D.
5D Steakhouse.
Steakhouse and Bar. Shout out to 5D. We might be doing the playoff show there. That's how confident we are with the Wildcats. The playoff show might be done at the 5Ds like we did. Let's go to Margie Bars.
Margie Bars Barbecue.
Barbecue, catering services, best smoked barbecue, chicken, ribs, brisket, pork, whatever it is that you
Ernest has
Mollejas.
traveled around the world.
He's eating a lot of barbecue.
He's eating a lot of barbecue.
But this one-
one's just worth eating.
Just worth
That's-
eating.
Okay, yeah.
So shout out to Margie Ayala Jr.
Margarito,
Yeah.
And you know he sold some tacos on Trick or Treat night, which was the 26th of October. You know, he sold tacos and mollejas. Those mollejas, dude, man, they were good. They're smoky, tender, perfect. And then he had like a little pico.
Straight to the arteries.
They were great, man. They were good. I'll take it. And
So-
then he also had brisket.
So shout out to the sponsors. Just so you guys know, none of this money goes into our own pockets. The money is used for whatever equipment, whatever events, stuff like that. It's just to give back, to keep Purple Rain Sports going, to continue to promote Wildcat Sports. So
And on from there we go to other sports. Mr. Alan Sanchez.
Thank you, gentlemen. Last Friday, our girls played against Hondo volleyball. Hondo was undefeated up to Friday, as a matter of fact, undefeated in district. Our girls swept them in 3 games, which with this win, I think it pretty much secured a playoff berth for our volleyball girls. What's going to happen if this coming week, Pearsall beats the team from the north, then our girls are solo 3rd place. So go Pearsall. If Pearsall loses, then they'll be tied for 3rd. So they're gonna have to go like into some playoff game or something like that. So
Like a one-game playoff?
For seeding, that is, for seeding for the playoffs. Playoffs, yep.
Yes, sir.
So, cross country, moving on to cross country. Our cross country team, as you guys know, did advance to regionals, and they competed at the regional meet. Our varsity girls came out 15th place as a team. Our varsity boys came out 11th place as a team. None of our boys advanced to state. We had runners for the boys division is Brady Cardenas, Cutter Carnes, Juan Garcia, John Hernandez, Kenneth Tucker, and Derek Medina. Our girls competing at regional meet, we had Miss Jaylene Hodges, Natalia Sainz, Caitlin Briseño, Lori Mendez, Destiny Davila, Valerie Benavides, and Melena Martinez. Now, I want to mention that we did have one female individual, a freshman by the name of Jaylene Hodges, that will be advancing to the state meet. It's going to be held.
Congratulations, Jaylene.
Congratulations, Jaylene. We're rooting for you. Go out there and keep on kicking some butt.
The future is
The
bright.
Wildcat way.
Future is bright. She's still got 3 more years after this year. So
Actually,
Yeah.
the varsity
So that's
girls
great.
division is actually a young team. We've got 4 freshmen, and
Oh, wow.
1 junior, 1 senior, and 1 sophomore, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so
it is a
that's
young
great.
team.
That's good. That's
It
good.
is a
The
young
Valerio's doing a good job with those
Yep.
boys and girls
Yep.
programs. So hats off to them. Hats off to them on that one. Let's move on for this Friday. Of course, you know it's a rivalry week. It's hard to say.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry week.
you sound pretty good.
It's
Sound
a
pretty
week where we play the rivals.
There
We'll
you
just
go.
say it like that. So it's going to be a good game this Friday. You know, I think we're both kind of evened out. You know, whatever's happened to both teams, it's the Rose lead to this one. So it's a very important game for both teams. The winner kind of stays in the playoff hunt. It's the second to the last week of the season. It's been a quick season, like we talked earlier, the 10th show. So should be pretty good on Friday. we're all excited.
Yeah, this is where, like the football team, this is your chance for this is a chance for the Wildcats to write their ticket into the playoffs. You know, it's the big game of the year. Everybody looks forward to this game. I think it's a great rivalry, but it's not the base. This usually doesn't define your season.
No.
It shouldn't define your season, but in this particular case, this game could be very pivotal for, one, a big win for the Wildcats. It's the rivals, and it'll get them into the playoffs. So that's what you want. Yes, we still have Divine. We don't want to roll the Cats out against Divine, but you don't want to make it harder than it needs to be to try to make that playoff berth, right? So, you know, we just need to work hard. We've been plagued with some injuries. We know they've been plagued with some injuries, but all of that is off the table when it comes to this game. You know, the teams will go out there and the teams will both play hard, and it's going to be hard fought the whole time. Me personally, I know I'm biased to the Cats, right? My kid plays. We've been following the Cats, but I just think the Cats are a better team this year, and I think they're going to go in there, and I think they're going to put a whooping on them. When I say put a whooping, that doesn't mean they're going to beat them by 30 points. I think they're just going to beat them, and I think both of them are going to come out pretty.
You win by 1,
pretty
you win
beat
by
up.
100, you win.
Yeah,
so, I think it's worse losing by 1 than losing by 100.
You know, and the Wildcats haven't been able to get the win in 5 years. You know, so that's another thing that we're looking to break, another record we want to break.
Break that streak.
You know, break that streak, and then we move on to Divine with some momentum, and you never know what happens.
So far we have we both won one playoff game, one district game. I'm sorry, we beaten Poteet, of course. You know, first week. I think both of us won that first week.
They beat Pearsall, we beat Poteet.
Yeah. They beat Pearsall, we beat Poteet. So that's kind of where it all leads to this week. And this last week they lost to Poteet, and a couple weeks ago we lost to Pearsall. So you know, it's kind of
50-50, man.
Yeah, so, but
you
nothing matters. We talked about nothing matters until you come to this game. Records don't matter. The weather doesn't matter, and of course the lines are going to be long. So make sure you get there early. Make sure you find a good seat.
Put some layers on. It's supposed to be cold out there,
It's supposed to be
right?
cold, about 46 degrees is the forecast around that area. My upper 40s, maybe over 50s, still cold.
Stop and get you some of that golden fried chicken. You know, you can forget about asking somebody to go to the concession stand and get chocolate milk or hot chocolate. That is the most annoying thing is, oh, can you bring me hot chocolate? And then you got to walk like real slow, you know, just to make half a cup back, you know. It's ridiculous.
And then it starts getting
And then by the time you get there, it's cold.
If anybody's been into in the stadium in Poteet, you got to walk half a mile just to go to the concession stand, and then they want you to bring hot chocolate back. You know, come on, what happened to popcorn and pickles? And you got
it's cold out there.
And Poteet, the hot chocolate was across the stadium. It was over there by the.
It was popsicle by the time you got back.
It was chocolate milk by the time you got to chocolate milk.
So if you're listening and you live in my house, don't ask me for any hot chocolate because I'm not gonna take any hot chocolate. I'm gonna watch the game. Okay. I'm gonna wear a brief so I don't have to go to the restroom. I'm gonna sit down
Pampers
in the cold.
depends.
An adult brief.
Due to your profession.
Brief, so I don't have to get up.
Due to your profession, why don't you just do the catheter?
Guys, it's going to be a great game, you know. And my word to the team is, go out there, play hard, and don't quit. You know what you can do. You know, execute. Don't make the mistakes. You know, no penalties. It's going to be a heated game. There's going to be a lot of talking back and forth, like Brian said, but it wasn't recorded.
We're on the second take.
You guys don't,
My fault.
when all the back talks back and forth, that's just gonna take you out of your game. It's gonna take you, and you're not gonna be focused on your assignment, like they said earlier. You're gonna be focused on getting that kid back. So take the high road. Don't let the penalties kill you. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, and just play football.
Okay, Wildcat fans, stay with us. We'll take a quick break, but before we go, here's a quick word from our friend from KSAT 12 Sports, Mr. Larry Ramirez.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you, make sure you check out Purple Rain Podcast. These guys are the best as they keep you up to date, the latest and greatest sporting news from Carrizo Springs. Seriously, give them a listen.
Want to turn your next fiesta into a feast? Well, Margie Bar's Barbecue is the right caterer for your event. Enjoy some fine smoked brisket, chicken, pork ribs, sausage, and much more. In other words, you name it, we will smoke it. Margie Bar's Barbecue is owned and operated by me, Margarito Ayala Jr., and the number is 830-322-4415. Once again, the number is 830-322-4415.
Hey, Margie, aren't you forgetting something?
What's that, Ernest?
I've been around the world, and I've tasted a lot of barbecue. But this one is just worth eating.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Ernest.
Welcome back to our final segment, episode 10, season 4, Purple Rain Sports here at Area 51. In this segment, we're going to jump into our You Pick 'em challenge. We put this in the Javelin. We had a lot of positive input on it. We had a lot of fans that even fans that aren't from Carrizo Springs that join in and kind of try the challenge. Something good to do. You tend to watch all these games that you don't even watch all the time, and see how your team's doing, or at least check the scores. So first off, let's go ahead and start. Right?
Yeah.
First off, of course, we have the rival game. The team from the north against the Wildcats. Across the board,
Wildcats.
We all picked the Wildcats to win that game. So hopefully that's the outcome. On the second game of our You Pick 'em challenge, we have Poteet at Divine, Warhorse Stadium over there in Divine. What do you think, Brian, on that one?
I'd say Divine across the board.
Yeah, across the board is Divine. Poteet's having a pretty good year. I mean, not to get anything away from them, but Divine's always come out with ways to win the game. So let's go on to the next one. Hondo at Pearsall. Pearsall's playing well as well, and Hondo is iffy. If you notice, there's some Mr. 51. You picked Hondo to win.
Yeah.
Sam, the man I am, soft hand Sam, picked Hondo. Alan the hero picked Hondo, and then it's me and Mr. BDE
going with Pearsall.
I'm going with Pearsall on this one. I think Pearsall's gonna. It's at Pearsall, and Pearsall's been playing pretty well. They got that wing tee, and I think they're gonna run away from Hondo in this game. So I picked Pearsall to win that game. Next game, if you pick Pettis for this game, because Pettis at La Pryor. If you pick Pettis for this game, something's wrong with you.
Somebody picked Runge last week, right?
60-6. But see, and I almost I was thinking about it because La Pryor has that tendency to really be inconsistent, where they play a good team really well and they play a really bad.
They're
team
like an EKG.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I went with La Pryor. Pettis has lost to Brackerville. They lost to the Heinous. Well, they played Saturday, and they lost to the Heinous. So
why did they play Saturday?
because the Heinous, now they do. Before they didn't have lights on their field, so they would play Saturday during the day.
It's
but
a small town.
yeah, well now they do have lights. They have lights now, but they decided to keep the tradition of playing on Saturdays, so they play Saturdays.
They have lights. Everybody parks their cars outside the.
Hey, don't say anything, man. We used to practice like that in Ashton, so don't say anything. People always ask me. There's a picture of us when we played Charlotte, and there's like a truck parked right off the sideline. So in that picture that's out there when I'm running with the ball, somebody asked, "Is that a truck on the sideline?" Because it's the sideline and then that little section of bleachers and then the truck was right
No,
there.
that's just the lights, kids. For that.
Oh, the light. That was the truck was parked right there. Anyway, let's move on. We'll go into our college games. And this week, UT had an atrocious game against TCU last week.
Yeah.
Well, they're off this week.
Nope.
They're licking their wounds this week, which I don't know. A&M is playing UTSA, so I decided not to add that game.
No.
I mean, UTSA is not having that good of a season, and you're playing a team like
A&M, even though they're playing not playing that good.
I didn't know why would they play.
And UTSA is a Division I team.
They're Division I.
And they did have good seasons before. They beat Baylor a couple years ago when they had Davenport. They had that good team. And a lot of times when they play these upper echelon teams, it's for the money. I mean,
Upper echelon. Why do you always have to use big ass words like that?
And now he'll text you.
Upper echelon. I can't even spell it.
ECHELON. 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 You just say it fast.
Con pilón.
Anyway, let's move on. UTSA is playing those games to get money, and that's what they do. The program needs money, and so that's what they're gonna do. They're playing A&M. Hopefully they do play well. You never know. That's why they play the games. Next we have Georgia at Florida. Now Georgia, this week's AP poll Georgia came out number 8, and Florida's number 6 now.
Did you skip Memphis or you said Memphis?
Oh, sorry, I did skip.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. As blind as you are, you caught that. You have SMU and Memphis, undefeated SMU, by the way, in Division I football. They're ranked number 16, playing against Memphis, who's ranked number 22. Now, Memphis was playing pretty good. Memphis, I think, has a better schedule. They're playing a tougher schedule. So I saw that Mr. BDE 76 and Mr. number 51 picked SMU to beat Memphis.
We like the ponies.
You like the ponies. They're Texas, and you remember the Pony Express back in the day.
There you go.
Eric Dickerson isn't coming through that hall, sir. Craig James isn't coming through that hall. So no, but Buechele is, and he used to be a quarterback in Texas, and he's playing pretty well still. So they're undefeated. So you can't knock them on that. So, but me, Mr. Alan Sanchez, and Mr. Sam the Man picked Memphis to win that game. What was your thinking behind that, Sam?
I flipped a coin.
and that's kind of what ESPN
I really
Well,
didn't know.
I looked it up. That's
I
why.
didn't- First of all, I thought, why in the hell are we picking with Memphis
And
and SMU of all the other college games going
Do
on?
you not hear what I just told you?
This is going to be a good game.
Because Craig James and Buechele.
Eric-
No, that's not what we're talking about. SMU is undefeated. SMU's undefeated.
They're ranked
Memphis has one loss, but they beat
Then they're
pretty good
22nd. I know, but still, of all the other college
teams. What
games.
else did you want?
I don't know, but I
Well,
mean, SMU and Memphis.
Look, I picked Memphis because I went to the ESPN app and Memphis is predicted to win.
Memphis is
It was
predicted to
close.
win.
It was close. I looked it up too.
See the 40%.
Their favorite. Well, Vegas has them favored by 4 points, 3.5. So it's going to be a close game, and that's why I choose the close games, Mr. Sam. I am. If you don't like it, you can choose the games.
I thought you chose Memphis because you were an Elvis
Spend your
fan.
Saturday searching, researching.
I flipped a coin.
That's
Why were you gonna work an extra hour? You have enough time to look for it.
So next game, let's move on. Next game, we said who picked Memphis and SMU. Next game is Georgia at Florida.
You know, I was really close to picking Florida because they had that big win
Against Auburn.
over against Auburn, but Georgia lost, right?
Yeah.
So I think Georgia's going to bounce back, and I think they'll
They'll come
take
back
this
with a
game.
vengeance.
Yeah. So that's my take on that.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, and I was on the fence on this one. Florida has a really good offense, but Georgia I think is a more complete team. Even though Florida's ranked higher, because with the start in the beginning of the season, it's like Notre Dame. I told y'all Notre Dame's always ranked top 10 in the beginning of the season.
Every year.
And they shouldn't be up there, but they are because everybody likes Notre Dame. I don't know. And I was
It's
right.
not the Catholics, man.
I was right. They were whooped, 45-7.
Yeah.
So I hate being right, but I always am. So what are you gonna do? So anyway, we all picked Georgia to win this game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. Let's move on to the next one. Next game we have Oklahoma State
TCU.
at TCU.
This should also be a good game.
This is gonna be a good game.
Good
Now,
week.
TCU just beat Texas, but Texas hasn't been playing well. Texas has a lot of injuries in the secondary, so I don't think TCU is gonna beat Oklahoma State. I picked Oklahoma State to win this game. I saw that all of y'all picked TCU, and I thought y'all are thinking because of this last week. This game, TCU has a pretty good team.
Well, I was thinking because of the horrible uniforms they played that they used.
TCU is favored to lose, or Oklahoma State's favored to win, but like 3 points.
Are they
How
playing
could
in
you be
Texas?
favored to lose?
Are they playing in Texas?
That's what I said.
Are they playing at TCU?
But
They're
I
playing
really
in
don't like
Oklahoma
any
State.
Any Oklahoma
Stillmore.
team.
They're playing Stillmore, Oklahoma.
I
Hey,
kinda like the
Stillwater.
Oklahoma
What did I say?
Stillwater.
Oklahoma got that ass beat this weekend
I
too.
like Oklahoma. Yeah.
Hell
I like,
yeah.
I like TCU. I like the Horned Frogs a lot.
Oh.
Okay, now do you like the team or do you think they're gonna win?
I think they're gonna win.
Because there's a lot of teams I like, and I'm not gonna pick them to win.
Yeah, I think.
You know,
Well, it's gonna be
Like the
close,
Lakers,
but I
right?
prefer-
Lakers win.
Since it's a pretty close game, I went with the team that I like more.
Okay, there you go.
That's why.
Brian, what is your?
It wasn't a lot.
Well, I looked up the rankings on that, and it was.
They're not ranked. They're both teams aren't ranked.
Well, I know, but still, the way
Well, TCU is ranked this, by the way. Yeah,
ESPN was giving it
27.
more to TCU. Well, then again, there's many ESPN polls. So the one I looked at was just edging them out over OSU. So, all my coworkers are from Oklahoma. So guess what?
You picked against them.
I picked TCU.
Now, and I apologize. Last week I said their uniforms are going to be sweet.
Oh, they weren't.
The way they were talking, I thought there was going to be the gray. That purple with the black and the gray.
It was not.
They did the pink because, of course, breast cancer, which we understand that. But it kind of looked pretty ugly.
Yeah, they were not the best uniforms.
Did you see them?
Yeah, I watch the game. I really don't watch the uniforms, but
You just
You
like
don't see those pink.
the helmets are nice. The
You like the
helmets
way it
were
looked
really
with the
nice,
helmet? I don't know.
Nah, you couldn't see
I
the.
like the helmets. but-
Anyways,
Well, anyway, let's move on.
what's the next game?
We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. The next game we have is the NFL. We'll jump into the NFL.
Wait, you chose who?
We have our Texans versus the Jaguars.
Oh, okay.
Texans versus the Jaguars at Jacksonville. Texans played last week. They fell back on the Raiders, which actually the Raiders' defense was pretty good. Texans fell behind, but good old Deshaun Watson on his own carried that team. We had injuries like everybody else did, but we have significant. J.J. Watt is out for the season. We still have some of our receivers down. We still don't have Fuller.
So
Again, Deshaun Watson pulled out the game.
as you can see, I picked the Jaguars. I kind of feel like the quarterback for the Jaguars, he's got a lot
Tyler
going on.
Minshew, yeah,
Dirk
he
Diggler,
is.
what's his name? The
Dirk
porn star?
Diggler?
Dirk Diggler. He's got that mustache and all that stuff.
He does.
He's
No, he
kinda
does.
freak-
He's
he's kind of
porn stash.
porn. He got the
Jaguars. It's Jaguars.
Jaguars.
the
No,
Jaguars.
some people I say Jaguars. It's like
Jaguars.
It's like a tomato.
It's not a Jaguar.
Tomato.
Es gato.
But
It's
hey,
Jaguar.
seriously, like I said, I don't usually pick the. I was almost gonna pick the Jaguars. Because we're so.
Well, I went with the Texans just
we're
because.
so diluted in all our injuries for the Texans. So I was thinking. So I was thinking of picking the Jaguars. I even thought I started typing the J, and I said I ain't gonna do that to my Texans. Deshaun Watson's gonna prove me wrong, so I said I'm gonna pick the Texans to win. So I picked the Texans to win.
But Jaguars have a good defense too.
They do. Oh,
They got a good defense also.
Guess who's gone from that defense? Jalen
Oh,
Ramsey's not
Jalen
there
Ramsey's
anymore.
gone. Yeah,
So
that's
who's
true.
gonna stop Watson?
The next man up.
Next man. There you go.
Better
Next
than
man
Jalen
up.
Ramsey? We'll see.
Not at all.
We'll see. That's why they play the games, fellas. That's why they play. Let's move on. So the next NFL game we have is the Bears at the Eagles. Now we all remember the Bears game last week.
Yeah,
where
that's a
kind of was the catalyst on who would be
stinky
the
pick.
stinky pick, and because of a missed field goal,
Adan.
one gentleman was supposed to be stinky pick, but because of a missed field goal, two gentlemen.
Two of us.
The Bears has really been sucking a big one though lately, man.
And
You
it's their offense.
you
It's
put
their
a lot, yeah. You put a lot on the defense, and then the offense comes in. The defense keeps you in the game as much as they could. Then the offense comes in.
Blows you away, man.
And
That field goal kicker is the one's got to go.
That's their third one.
Really?
That's like the third one this season.
Keep on looking, because
so the next game we have the Colts and the Steelers.
Steelers, who we're just watching the Steelers.
The Steelers are winning right now, but the Steelers are trash.
Yep.
so
You
the
know,
Colts are
that's
going to
just
take it.
Really, what it comes down to.
Wow, they have it split.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be cold.
50-50.
It's Heinz Field is open.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Do they get like ketchup and stuff over there at the Heinz Field?
Jacksonville, that's the same time.
They get it free.
But the Colts defense is dynamic. I think the Colts defense is gonna make the difference in this game. That's why I picked the Colts. They beat the Texans. They just beat this past week. They came back and beat the
Denver. Did they beat Denver?
Denver.
You had the quarterback talking trash about the coaches.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be a game. Last game of the season. Last game of the picks. Yeah. I know. Last
Cowboys.
game we have the Cowboys and the Giants. Not even funny. The Giants stink. Another NFC East team that stinks. So we know we all picked the Cowboys to win that game because, geez, it's the NFC least. Shouldn't even be in the NFL. That division should be in. I think the SEC could beat the NFC East. I think Alabama, LSU, all those teams could beat any of those teams. Cowboys will probably give them a game, but that's the worst division in football. I just gotta say that. Thank you.
Division as a whole.
Division as a well, duh. That's the division. The whole four games. The Redskins, come on. The Giants, come on. Who's the other one? I don't even know who the other one is.
The 49ers are in that division.
Down there, not their NFC West.
Oh.
See, we don't even know who the other one is. They stink.
Those Eagles way?
Oh, the Eagles aren't that
The
bad. Well, they played bad. They played.
Cowboys beat 'em.
So
Cowboys
Anyway,
did beat them.
So those are the picks. How about the fan picks? How
now
are we
have
looking on the fan
for
picks?
this week? The fan picks. We have a tie at the top of 7. This thing is moving on me. We have a tie at the top. We have Mr. Luis Briseño, with 8 correct, 8 out of 10.
I saw him at church this weekend. And boy Louis.
Got a boy Luis. Fernando Ledesma also with 8. Roy Martinez, they got 8.
The bandwagon?
Ooh, the bandwagoner.
And he picked against Notre Dame. He picked
Wow.
against Notre Dame. His favorite team. He has a tattoo of that team.
So
and he picked against them. So
But he got that one in prison, though.
he got the incorrect. He got Texas and the Bears wrong.
he was a lucky Irish.
Also, you have, and I think that's it. Those are the 3 people that were tied at the top.
So, do you have any numbers as far as fan picks for overall, like through the?
Not as of yet. I was going to start doing that, and I should have. Usually, I do it at the middle of the season, which I haven't. So I had to do that to see who's in the lead. I'm going to have to get all the percentages.
It's kind of tough today because he was waiting on this game to finish. So
Yeah,
And we had to record on Monday too. So
and we had to record on Monday. So I will have those numbers. I'll put them out there when I post all this stuff. I'll put on who's the leader so far, and we'll have 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks for high school. We continue. We'll continue the picks for NFL.
but he'll have an extra hour since we're moving the time back.
We're moving the time back. We have an extra hour. So
Sam loses an hour.
The Steelers are going to win this game. You know, there are 2 minutes left in the game. They're up 27-14. So if you pick the Steelers, that's an extra win for you. So Mr. Roy Martinez, Mr. Fernando Ledesma, and Mr. Luis Breseño are all tied at the top. And then for the crew, at the top, BDE 76 was 8 correct, alone at the top. And then Mr. Sanchez and myself, 7 correct. You know, we both took a chance on high school games. I took a chance with the team from the north versus Poteet. And Mr. Sanchez took a chance with La Praia and Rungi.
yeah,
We were both wrong. So that kind of took us. And then Alan, for some reason, picked Notre Dame to beat Michigan. After I told him what I told him, and Terco. And then myself, I picked the Bears, who should have won. But the damn kicker.
Then I picked the Bears too. I picked the Bears too.
Field goal, and I knew the kicker was gonna choke. That's why I picked the Chargers. No, I didn't.
So that kind of hurt us. So
We know you're lying to them.
so.
You can't lie to us.
And then at the very bottom, we forget the bottom part. You know, when there's 2 people at the bottom of this list. We have Mr. Sam the Man, who only gets 6 correct,
Hey, but
and then Mr. Brian Perez.
hey, but that's crazy. That's 6 that we got right. Normally
So
when we're in the
Sam-
bottom, we're like 1 and 9.
Sam, like myself, picked the Bears. He got it wrong. He picked Notre Dame, another burro that picked Notre Dame.
Why did I pick Notre Dame?
I kept telling y'all.
'Cause
but
you like that prison
y'all
lingo
think
from
you know
Roy.
More than I do. Okay. And then you picked Texas over TCU, which, you know, that hurt me because I knew Texas was going to lose to TCU, and I'm a Texas fan. And then, of course, the Wildcats. And then Mr. BDE or Mr. Brian will pick the same as you did.
So I lost the same ones he did.
The same ones as you did.
Yeah, he texted me that morning.
Yeah, y'all picked the same picks. Wow, I just saw that. Y'all picked the exact same picks.
Sam, I still think Sosa changes our picks, dude.
How do I change your picks?
I think he still changes our
Let's check
picks.
the text messages y'all sent me.
I think so.
Let's pie these suckers.
So coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick break, just real quick, and then we're gonna set up for the pie. Mr. Sam and Mr. Brian. Alan, would you want to do both so I can record, or what do you want to do?
One in each hand.
You the man.
You're a hero.
So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you join us when we come back. The pie to the face to the Stinky Picks. We'll be right back.
I hope you're recording this time. It is.
Welcome back to our Stinky Pick portion of the show. We're gonna do our pie to the face here. Let's see if they can hear me. We're gonna do our pie to the face punishment. Mr. BE76 couldn't be here tonight. He was watching the Steelers and the Dolphins, and he didn't want to be embarrassed in case the Dolphins beat the Steelers, so he couldn't be here. I'm the same way, so whenever the Lakers play, I don't want to see with anybody. So anyway, our 2 stinky picks for this week are Mr. Sam the Man Castro, right here, and Mr. BE76, who got the lowest scores on our podcast. So on our podcast, you pick up challenge. So here we go. Ready?
Who wants the first one? Who wants the first? Hurt you?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit him. Oh, he did the cross. He did the cross move. There we go. Poor guy. What do you have to say for yourself, Mr. Castro?
I hate being stinky.
How about you, Mr. Perez?
I love pie.
And there you have it, fellas. Good night.
Good
Good podcast. I'm sorry.
Good night.
I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry, Ernest. I messed it up. Good podcast. Good night.
Yeah.